Today's episode is a little different because we're stepping into the world of Tudor Christmas animals, the creatures that shaped the food, the symbolism, the superstition, and even the soundscape of a festive Tudor winter. And as always, everything I'm showing today is grounded in medieval or 16th century sources, but there are no penguins involved, just in case that confuses you at all. I'm historian and author Claire Ridgway, and welcome back to my Tudor Christmas Advent series. Let's begin with the undisputed King of Tudor Christmas, and I'm not talking about Henry VIII. For the Tudors, no animal shouted Christmas louder than the boar. The boar's head was the centrepiece of many aristocratic Christmas feasts. One of our best early sources is Wynkyn de Word's 1521 collection of carols, which includes the earliest written version of the Boar's Head Carol. It opens, "The boar's head in hand bring I, with garlands gay and rosemary." This tells us two things clearly. The boar's head was richly carried in, and it was decorated with greenery, especially rosemary, a winter evergreen tied to remembrance and honour. The boar symbolised courage, danger, and mastery over nature, qualities admired in kings and noblemen. Medieval morality texts often describe the boar's ferocity as a metaphor for chaos or evil being conquered, making it especially resonant at midwinter, when light was believed to triumph over darkness. In royal households, venison was common, but a boar's head, often gilded or elaborately dressed, was a true showpiece. Henry VIII, famously passionate about hunting, valued boar highly. In January 1532, Anne Boleyn gave Henry VIII 2 boar spears as her New Year's gift, a detail recorded in the royal gift rolls. This was no romantic trinket. Boar spears were specialist hunting weapons associated with elite sport, danger, and masculine kingship. By choosing them, Anne aligned herself with Henry's identity as a hunter and ruler. It was a carefully judged symbolic gift, one that spoke the language of power, status, and shared values at the heart of a Tudor Christmas and New Year. Let's move on to the ox and the ass, sacred Christmas animals. These two appear in almost every medieval and Tudor nativity illustration, and not by accident. They derive from Isaiah 1 verse 3. "The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib." Medieval preachers seized on this. A 15th century English nativity sermon explains that the ox, traditionally associated with the Jews, recognised Christ, and the ass, representing the Gentiles, also acknowledged his divinity. This symbolism carried straight into Tudor devotion. As I mentioned a few days ago in my video on Christmas superstitions, so strongly were these animals associated with Christmas Eve that late medieval English sermons warned parishioners not to slip into barns at midnight to hear the ox and ass speak, a miracle people evidently believed might happen. And now on to deer. Hunting harts and bucks was part of aristocratic winter life, but it also became a Christmas tradition. Deer appear constantly in Tudor accounts of seasonal hospitality. Gifts of venison were common at Christmastide, both as acts of generosity and as statements of status. A 16th century household ordinance from the Northumberland estates lists specific winter distributions of venison to servants and dependents, while Edward Hall's Chronicle frequently notes Henry VIII hunting in December before the 12 days began. Venison fat also found its way into festive dishes, including early mince pies. And what about birds? Well, the Tudors didn't reserve poultry for Michaelmas when a goose was traditionally eaten. It was very much Christmas fare too. Household books, including those of the Lisle family recorded in the Lisle letters, list capons as favoured Christmas dishes, geese served across the 12 days, and poultry rents, with tenants paying landlords in birds at Christmastide. Capons also appear frequently in 16th century cookery collections and were symbols of prosperity and good household management. And there's a charitable aspect too. Parish and monastic accounts show poultry being distributed to the poor as part of Christmas almsgiving. Sheep were rarely centre stage at the Christmas table, but they were essential to Christmas survival. Wool kept people alive during the cold winters of the Little Ice Age. Shepherds also dominated the Christmas imagination. Before the Reformation suppressed them, shepherds' plays from medieval mystery cycles were hugely popular festive dramas. Even after their disappearance, the imagery remained deeply familiar. Dogs appear everywhere in Tudor sources, in hunting manuals, in inventories, and in royal gift lists. They helped guard livestock and property and were also valued as pets, as seen in many Tudor portraits. Many Tudor homes would have had a dog warming itself by the hearth. Cats feature less in official records, but more in folklore. Fitzherbert's Book of Husbandry notes observing animals for weather signs, and early modern rhymes link a cat's behaviour to storms and frost. Some households believed that a restless cat on Christmas Eve foretold harsh winter weather. So do keep an eye on your cat on Christmas Eve. Royal Christmas entertainment often featured people dressed as lions, unicorns, dragons or camels, especially in Epiphany pageants. Hall's Chronicle describes disguisings filled with allegorical beasts, blending scripture, chivalry and spectacle. And then there's the royal menageries, though not festive per se. These fed the fascination with the marvellous. So, a Tudor Christmas was alive with animals. The boar carried in triumph, the ox and ass watching the Nativity, deer hunted in frosty parks, geese and capons roasting on spits, sheep providing warmth and meaning, dogs and cats sharing winter households, and fantastical creatures dancing through court revels. Thank you for joining me for this wander through the creatures of a Tudor Christmas. If you've enjoyed it, please give the video a like, subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next episode in my Advent series. And tell me in the comments, how do animals feature in your Christmas? I'll see you tomorrow for more Tudor Christmas history. Bye-bye.